morning, everyone. This is Luciana Turner of the LT&A Company, bringing you this morning's edition of Morning Tidbit. I hope you had an amazing weekend. This morning, we want to talk about quantum leaps. Hold on. Well, first, let me introduce myself. I am your Chief Compliance Officer. I am your government contracting strategist. I design government contracting strategy that incorporates industry compliance rules and regulations because as quiet as it is kept, the government will ask for their money back plus penalties and interest when you violate the rules, whether intentionally or unintentionally. So that's where I come in at. But let's get back on topic. Quantum leaps. My coach, my mentor, has a concept he talks about quantum leaps. And that's where you make tremendous strides, you make tremendous efforts, you make tremendous leaps in business, in life. And that's where you skip steps in your efforts. And all of these skips are a result of the inputs and influences that come from, quite frankly, having a coach, having a mentor. And I want to come before you this morning to talk about the necessity, the need of having those quantum leaps that come from a coach, a mentor, a community of like minded individuals that keep you motivated, that keep you encouraged. Too often, we have gurus that want to spread the message of you don't need encouragement if you really want it. And I want to talk about how that is not necessarily true and how that is a harmful mindset to have. There are often times when this journey gets difficult and when you run out of ideas, when you run out of ways to see things, that is the purpose of a coach. That is the purpose of a mentor. And when you don't have that, and especially if you're the only one in your family doing what you're doing, your first generation, etc., it's difficult to do something you've never done before. So it's easy to get caught in what I call floundering. You kind of get caught in that undercurrent and you're just treading water and you need a lifeline. So if you don't have a community that you can tap into, which is where joining masterminds come in, where joining group mentor programs come in at, you can find yourself stuck, for lack of a better term. And perpetual stuckness can lead you in or leave you in a holding pattern that can kind of cripple you. Then add on into this pervasive talk of you don't need somebody to encourage you if you really want it. Add all that in there is detrimental. Having that person and having that group, having that community keeps the momentum going. It has a way to plug in. When I was in corporate America, one of the things I noticed was my CFO, my CEO, they all were members of masterminds that met quarterly. They stayed plugged into a community so that when they, I don't want to use the term got stuck, but when they came into unique situations, when they came into an industry, when they saw an industry trend coming, They tapped into that community, and that community came together to discuss that trend, to discuss what was coming ahead. They tapped in, they leaned into one another, they discussed what was going on. Now, if they could do that as executives in a multi-billion-dollar industry, in a multi-billion-dollar company, why is it that as owners of new companies or as owners of million-dollar companies, wherever you are in your journey, we feel that we must do it alone? We feel that we don't need to tap in and have a group or have a community. We feel that you don't need somebody to lean into, that you don't need someone to encourage you from time to time, and that if you need encouragement, you don't really want it. It's a dangerous mindset, and it's a counterproductive mindset. And off the time, what I saw when there was something in our industry coming that they would see, they tapped into that community and came back. And then they fed into their leadership what they got gleaned out of that mastermind that they attended. And then we were able to make quantum leaps in our decision making. And then those leaders then fed into us. And then we made quantum leaps in the work that we did. Quantum leaps come from tapping into a community. You don't have to do it alone. And I dare say you're hindering your progress by doing it alone. Building a company should not be done in an echo chamber, and it should not be done in isolation. It is the quickest way to burn out. And I'm speaking from experience because my first 2 years in business, I tried to do it alone. And I had the red eyes, and I had the high blood pressure, and I had the exhaustion to show for it. It was when I tapped into a community. It was when that I built a team that I saw growth. It was when I saw the pressure ease. It was when my mind came at rest, and then I was able to create. And anyone who tells you you can build a company by yourself, I would dare suggest that you distance yourself from them. Community is key. Now, somebody's going to say, I can't afford it. You should be building that into your budget. And if you don't have a budget, that's another conversation for another day. But you should be building that into your team. You should be building that into your system. But you can't build in an echo chamber. It is difficult to have a quantum leap when you're in exhaustion. A hurried mind, a distracted mind, an exhausted mind cannot create. A burdened spirit cannot uplift a client, let alone itself. So, with that, I'm going to end the day with this. Take a moment and jot down what do you need to make your next quantum leap. Put a coach somewhere in that list. Put a consultant somewhere on that list. There is something that you do expertly, and there's something that you don't do expertly. And then build that into your budget. Build that into your quarterly budget so that you can afford to integrate that into your team. And I will see you here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next edition of Morning Tidbit. I'm Luciana Turner, and I will see you tomorrow. Have an amazing day.